So we are on.
Yes,
There are already some participants who have joined, and I'm
wonderful.
really happy to be on this show. This is the first one, which is Happy Minds, Abundance Lives. So I welcome you all to Happy Minds and Abundant Lives. I'm Suchita Sanjay, a clinical hypnotherapist and a mindset coach, the host for today's show. The show is your go to talk show for mental health and well being. So, in times to come, we will explore strategies for balanced and fulfilling life. So, today's topic is Fix Your Life to Fix Your Sleep. We will dive into how stress, routines, and mindset will impact your sleep and offer practical tips to improve both your life and sleep quality. So let's tune in for the experts' insight that will inspire positive changes. Our guest for the show is my dear friend Sridhar, who's a hypnotherapist and has expertise in helping people who struggle with insomnia. So he has worked in the IT industry for over a decade before becoming a therapist and helping people with their mental health challenges. Having suffered from insomnia and several personal challenges, Sridhar understands clearly the toll it can take on a person's emotional well being. So he focuses on getting to the root cause of people's problems very quickly so that people can live pain free lives. So stay tuned till the end, my dear friends, because Sridhar will also be sharing very powerful tips which will help you to sleep better. So let's go ahead, Sridhar. I welcome you.
Hi, Suchita. Thanks a lot for the warm welcome. So nice to catch up with you and chat today evening. And hi to everyone who's joining in and listening to us. How are you all doing?
Lovely to have you, Sridhar. So let me go ahead with the questions. The
Sure.
first question that I have to ask you is you worked in an IT industry for a long
Yeah.
time.
Yes.
So, what made you decide to quit your job and take a completely different career path, which is therapy?
Yeah, like most people in the IT industry, I've also explored a lot of things while I was working there, and it was about 12 years I worked in the IT industry. And while I was, good at tech, and I did enjoy the tech space, right? But a part of me always kept, looking for there's something more, there's something else which I need to be doing, and that search is what kept moving me along. So I started out as a developer, and then I shifted into UX design, which was like the intersection of technology as well as human behavior. And I felt like, I'm interested in human behavior. And then again, I moved a little bit further and specialized as a researcher, which is again much more into understanding the psychology of people, how they think, why they think, what they think, and things like that. And over a period of time, I found myself gravitating towards understanding the mind, understanding the psychology, and that's how that entire transition happened. And over this period of time, I was facing many personal challenges, mental health problems as well. And I've been in therapy and I've taken medications. It took a toll on me. So that is when I tried different therapy modalities, and finally I found hypnotherapy, and it really helped me a lot to uncover the real issues. And once I got a little bit better, I decided, let me just train in this mainly to heal myself. I never had any intention of quitting my job and doing this full time, because I did enjoy my work. It was a well-paying job, and it's a very niche role in India, so everything was actually going good. There was no reason for me to quit. But then by the time I finished, my course, or about to finish my course, that's when I realized, something is telling me I need to do this full time. And I've always trusted my intuition, and my intuition has never let me down. So that's when I decided, what, I've worked for 12 years. If I don't try this now, something for myself, I'll never try this. People spend their entire lives, wishing what they could have done or how they could have lived. I said, like, what is the harm? Max 1 year, I'll lose. But I'll just, I do really wanted to do it. And thankfully, I was in a position to do all right, right? Because it's not, it's also a privilege. Not everybody has the option to change things all of a sudden. I had a lot of factors which were in my favor. So that's kind of how, I made the transition first to heal myself and then, towards healing others.
Mhm. That's really very wonderful. And it's very difficult to take such a decision also when you're in the peak of your career. And
Yes.
most of all, you have decided to do something that is very meaningful and purposeful. So when you do
Yeah.
something that, helps other people while you help yourself too, and I think that is the best way to live. So I'm so glad that you transition and you're continuing to impact many more lives. So
Thank
let me
you.
go on to the next question. So,
Yeah.
what are some of the common reasons that people suffer from sleep challenges?
Sure. So when we look at sleep issues, right? So there are three main reasons for not being able to sleep. And when we talk about sleep disorders, there are like a host of different things like restless leg syndrome, sleep apnea, and everything. I'm going to talk specifically only about insomnia, being unable to sleep or waking up multiple times. That's the only thing which I'm going to focus on today. And for that, there are broadly speaking three reasons. The first reason is lifestyle, taking caffeine later in the evening, binge watching TV, too much of device usage, or your room is not ventilated. Basic lifestyle things. A lot of people don't pay enough attention to it, and that is one of the major causes for sleep disruption. The second one is physical issues. Somebody might have some vitamin deficiencies or hormonal fluctuations because of which their sleep wake cycles get impacted, and also even if they get sufficient sleep, they might not feel refreshed when they wake up. The third reason is psychological. This could be like anything to do with stress, anxiety, any unresolved emotional wounds, past trauma, mental health challenges, and all of these things could impact your sleep. And it's usually like a combination of multiple things, like lifestyle, physical, as well as psychological. Sometimes people just have sleep disruption, right? When there's a difference between sleep disruption and insomnia. Sleep disruption is one night or two nights you don't sleep well. It could be because you're traveling, you have some pain, or you have to take care of a child. That's okay. Insomnia is basically fear of not being able to sleep. You need to understand the difference. So you might have could have started off as a minor thing, but over time, when you associate fear and anxiety about not being able to sleep, about not getting enough hours of sleep, that is what results in insomnia. So these are the three broad categories of reasons for insomnia.
Oh, that's really very nice. Thank you for sharing this beautiful insight, and it's
Thank
very much necessary. Moreover, I think it is the psychological issues also which disrupt the sleep.
Yes. Yeah.
So, Sridhar, just a minute. Can we just take a check because I just got a
Yeah. Yeah.
message from somebody that only the music is playing in
Oh,
the
is it?
Instagram.
Sure,
So,
sure.
shall we?
Yeah.
So,
Let me also try to check on my phone. I'll just mute myself and I'll check on my phone.
yes, yes, because somebody said it is.
I checked on my phone. We are getting the audio. It's all good. Maybe there must have been some issue therein, but I just checked on my phone. I'm getting the clear audio and video from your
Oh,
profile. Yeah. We're good to go.
okay. Good to go. Good to be back.
Yes.
So, and what are some of the myths about sleep?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so one of the common myth I would say is, there are two extremes of people I've seen. So one is people who think, sleep is not at all, like important and I'll sleep when I die kind of an attitude. And for them, it is like, no, I don't need 8 hours of sleep. I don't need. So for them, that becomes the thing. And on the other end, I see people who are like, very hyper aware or, like trying to be very perfectionist when it comes to, sleep. And that itself, interrupts the sleep. So when I have to think of certain myths, right? Like one of the common thing which people is like people treat sleep like it's some kind of a problem to be solved, like it's some kind of a final destination that you arrive. And that's the thing with sleep. The more you do try to sleep, the more it will keep eluding you. Sleep is a natural function of the body. The moment you wake up, there is a part of your brain which kind of monitors how much time you have been awake. So after 12 to 14 hours, automatically your body is designed to secrete certain hormones to introduce to induce us drowsiness and thereby sleep. So as long as we don't disrupt the body's natural function, sleep will happen. And like I said, there could be some physical issues which could be disrupting that, but barring that, most of the times it is psychological in nature. So that is the first myth. Sleep is not a problem to be fixed. It's not some kind of a destination that you go. When you stop trying, hard and try less, then sleep will happen to you. That's the first myth. The second myth I would say is, uh, it can be fixed only with medications. That is not always the case. For some people, medicines are necessary. It depends on whatever is their underlying health condition, and only after a thorough assessment with the doctor we can decide that. And most of the times, even doctors who prescribe say that it is for the short term. Very rarely do they prescribe it for a longer term thing. So popping a pill or taking a drug is not the only solution. There are many different modalities. Again, it depends on each person. And while like we are struggling with sleep, and we might want to, I just want to get a few hours of sleep. It could be very, what to say, I want a quick hack kind of a thing, but it's not the only way out there. And then the third myth is, I would say, people who rely on only natural remedies to fix sleep. This is the other end of the extreme. You know what, I'll take this herb, I'll drink like warm milk before bed, and it will cause me sleep, it will cause me to go to sleep. And that is also equally wrong. See, each person's body type is unique, each personal situation is unique. For some people, certain natural remedies might work, but for some people it might not. And when you keep doing more and more, I've seen people who have such a very elaborate bedtime routine. It takes like half an hour for them to apply all the oil, do this, do that, and that itself is very exhausting, and it becomes too much. So that's the third myth, I would say. Relying only on the natural ways to fix your sleep. You need to look at system as the your body as a holistic system, and sleep is affected by multiple factors, and only by being like a detective and assessing what are all the different causes, we can figure out the right approach for you.
Mhm. So I just also want to understand here when you say when we are speaking about myths. Normally,
Yeah.
what happens is people say that it's genetic, it's in our family, so we can't sleep because my mom could not sleep or my grandmom could not sleep. So, what do you
Yeah.
have to say about this?
It is possible some people have a gene, but for most people it might not the thing. So the Dr. Bruce Lipton, he's done this whole study on epigenetics. Just because you have a gene does not mean the gene is going to express itself. That is the core of it. Like you might have a gene that makes you prone towards insomnia or some other hereditary disease, but that doesn't mean that gene is going to express yourself. Your environment, your thoughts have a lot of power in impacting how your life actually turns out. And more often than not, this is psychological in nature. When we are children, we try to mimic our parents, because we want their love, we want the safety, we want the security, and we just, they are our caretakers, right? Our survival depends on them. So when we mimic them, and parents also say, oh, look at him, he's talking like me, or she's behaving like me. So the child learns to mimic that. So even when we grow up, psychologically we tend to mimic our parents, even though when we don't have any uh, we are not prone, or there's no real cause for it. We're like, oh, if I have insomnia, then it means I am more connected to my mother, or I'm more connected to my father. It tends to be more psychological in nature rather than actual thing. Yeah.
So, does this also mean that they have to start telling better things to themselves if they want to sleep better?
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, the only person who lives with you 24/7 is you. Barring the time that we sleep, we are always thinking and talking to ourselves. And our life is going to turn out, depending on how, we talk to ourselves. While yes, there are going to be certain situations and factors outside of your control. I'm not at all denying that, but the response to that is still in your control. That is the only thing. Just because you say nice things to yourself doesn't mean your life is going to be airy fairy and full of roses. No, there will be challenges, there will be obstacles. You cannot avoid it. That is the nature of life. But at least, like, you will create less hurt. There is this kind of like a saying in Buddhism. They call it the second arrow. The first arrow is the actual incident which causes you the pain. It could be something like a family issue, or this thing, work issue, or something. The second arrow is your interpretation and your response to it, which keeps on, like, repeating the same pain and over to you. So definitely, like, how we think and how we feel has a huge impact on, like, shaping our destinies.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for this share. And how does therapy fix someone's sleep issues?
Sure. So, like I said, right, like there are three major causes of, lifestyle, physical and psychological. So, what therapy really helps is, insomnia is basically fear of not being able to sleep, or fear of wakefulness. That is what it is. You want to sleep, but you're also constantly thinking of some negative thoughts or opposite thoughts, because of which you're not able to do. So what therapy does is it helps to get to the root cause of what is it that is keeping you up at night. Like I said, sleep will happen when you remove all the hindrances. So something is hindering. Is it something because, like, okay, it could be positive or a negative hindrance. This is something which people need to remember. A positive hindrance is maybe you are very excited about a project, you are excited about some meeting which is coming up, because of which you are not able to sleep. You are doing a lot of planning and things like that. That is a positive expectation, also, which is not letting you sleep. And then a negative expectation would be something like, some, like, problem happened at work, or you were laid off, you're having some health issues, or some personal family struggles are going on, or some kind of a traumatic incident happened to you in the past, and you still haven't taken the time to process it. It could have happened even in your childhood, and you might not remember it consciously, but your subconscious remembers every single thing which has happened to you. So when you have not addressed any of these mental and emotional afflictions, that is why the sleep gets, interrupted. So and one of the, prerequisites for being able to sleep is you should feel safe. You need to feel safe in order to be able to sleep. It's an evolutionary thing, right? So, like, imagine we were cave people, we were living in the caves and the jungles. You had to make sure that you were safe and protected by your tribe, otherwise you would be a meal for the lion. That's what it is. So our brains have evolved to constantly scan our environment for threats. It's called as neuroception. Our brain is constantly scanning our environment for threats. In the modern day, while we don't have physical dangers, we have perceived threats. A boss sends you an email, let's meet tomorrow, and your brain is interpreting it as the same way as there is a lion waiting outside your door, even though it could have been just a casual email. But your interpretation of that event is causing your, body to go into a fight or flight response system, and that is, wreaking havoc on you. So what therapy does is, again, find what is the root cause, why you are unable to sleep, and kind of unraveling those knots, so that you feel like calm, you feel, like, safe, protected, and that, okay, now I can drop, now I can let go of it. I've done enough, this is all that I can do, and the world is still going to be around when I open my eyes, so I can sleep now. So that is what, sleep therapy does. It removes the fear and anxiety around sleep, and also the underlying stressor event which caused that fear and anxiety.
That's really great. In a nutshell, what affects sleep is basically anxiety, stress. So, to put it simply,
Yes.
fears, any traumas, and
Yeah.
many other issues which will I mean, it may be related to hormonal and again
Yeah,
other factors. Yeah.
absolutely.
So therapy definitely does help one to
Yeah,
identify this and
yeah,
mainly the root cause, which is
yeah.
very important, which goes missing otherwise when it is just just consult, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Otherwise, otherwise you can. So a lot of the times people rely on techniques or hacks like breathing or that or yoga, meditation. Again, all of those are beautiful and good in and of by itself. But if you haven't figured out what is the actual thing which is causing it, and you just keep doing all of these surface level thing, it will not fix the problem.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as we have come almost to the end of the show, I just want to ask one last question, and that
Yes.
is, what are some of the tips that you want to give our audience today to
Yeah.
sleep better?
Sure. I'll give tips which will be applicable for the general audience first, and then maybe for people with specific to insomnia. So the first thing I would say I'll urge people is, pay attention to your sleep hygiene. It is something that we don't, we take it for granted these days. When I mean sleep hygiene, it's about do's and don'ts. Again, I'm not expecting you to be very stringent with everything. There is a leeway in everything. Okay, couple of things which I can, say off the top of the mind is first, reduce your, caffeine intake. Caffeine directly impacts your sleep cycle. But the thing is, caffeine, each person processes it in a different time period. Like it can vary anywhere between 5 to 8 hours to process the caffeine completely. So you need to observe if you've been taking caffeine regularly, it's possible that you can metabolize faster. But even then, 3 or 4 p.m. is a good enough cutoff time rather than 7 or 8 p.m. kind of a thing. And similarly, if you're taking anything like aerated drinks or energy drinks like Red Bull, anything they contain caffeine. Some of the common painkillers also contain caffeine, which people don't realize it. So just be careful of what you are, consuming. That is the first thing. And then the second one is, have your food at least 3 hours before, max to max 2 hours before. Your body can either digest food or it can sleep. It can either rest or digest. So if we ask it to do both, it won't be able to do, and it will result in a disturbed sleep. And the third thing is cut off all fluid intake 1 hour before. And I mean drinking water. A common thing which people do is like, okay, I'm going to go to bed, so I'll drink a glass of water. What will happen is your bladder will fill up and you will have to get up in the middle of the night to relieve yourself. So even though you don't have a problem, you wake up in the middle of the night and then you're scared of the dark, and then it creates unnecessary complications. It's important to stay hydrated. Get most of your water intake in the first half of the day and cut off fluid intake by at least 1 hour before. If you're thirsty, take a sip or so. So these are some of the common things. And also, if you visit my website, I have created a new free training called 10 sleep tips for deep sleep. So you could definitely check out the do's and don'ts. These are the lifestyle related changes. And then for people who are particularly struggling from insomnia, what I would say is like, first, don't be scared of insomnia, don't be scared of sleep. There are plenty of modalities and treatment options that are available for it. And if you look at your own life, you would have overcome, yeah, so many challenges. And there would have been stretches in your life where you didn't get enough sleep, but you still managed to pull through. Maybe at college when you were studying, you pulled an all-nighter, or for some marriage or function you were doing, but you were still fine, right? So it's, yes, it is important to get sufficient sleep, but again, don't be too hyper aware about it. There are plenty of options, and try different ones, and whichever seems the right one for you, go with it. And like I always say, sleep is not a problem to be fixed. It's a sort of effortless effort. You need to do some effort, but not too much also. Yeah.
So I have also seen people saying, if I have a good cup of coffee even in the night, I can sleep very well. So
Yeah.
it's at this, I think people need to understand their own body types and then
Yes.
respond accordingly. Is that right?
Yes, I have, like my brother's one example. He can drink a cup of coffee and sleep in half an hour. And he can sleep very deep sleep as well. But I can't. I have to cut off coffee by 4 o'clock. So, and some of the people who think they have a high tolerance don't have a high tolerance. You just observe your own sleep and you will notice like you might go to sleep immediately, but are you waking up multiple times? Do you feel jittery? Do you feel fatigued? Do you feel energetic? So these qualitative parameters also you need to take in mind. And another thing is coffee is a diuretic, which means it will make you lose water, it will make you want to pee more. So if you drink coffee, it tends to make you want to pee more. So you will end up waking up in the middle of the night. So there are multiple chain effects which happen when you take anything.
So, with regard to mental health aspect, how do you
Yeah.
think they can address the sleep issues?
So yeah, like as a first thing, what I would say is, like acceptance within yourself, like saying, it's now I need to work on it and I need to get some help. A lot of the times people try to avoid looking at this because it looks scary. I don't want to admit I have a mental health issue. I don't want people to judge me. Even before you tell people, people are busy judging themselves. There is unfortunately still a lot of stigma associated. And people are like, oh no, I can't afford to break down. As if going to therapy is going to break you down. People are going to put you back in therapy. So that is what happens in therapy. No one is going to break you down. You're already broken down. So don't think that it's going to break you down. So that is the first thing. First, acknowledging that there should, you need help. We all need help. And most of the people who are going about also need help, but they're just not admitting to themselves. And then, just open up, like first you be comfortable with it, asking for help. Then, like speak to maybe your close family members or friends and discuss it. And maybe that itself gives you that, kind of ease to, maybe that fixes your problem, then go for it. For some people, even prayer and religion helps fix the problems, then go for it. And if all of those things you have tried, it's like you don't have to immediately end up in a therapist's office also. I don't recommend that if you don't want to. First, you accept it, then open up to people whom you trust, and then try little things which are possible. And if you still feel you are not doing, then please feel free to reach out to a good therapist and speak with them to see how can they address you, or speak to a doctor to see if there are any physical issues that needs to be addressed.
Yeah. So you beautifully put it across that vulnerability is also strength.
Yes.
So this is something that everybody has to carry from this show, I guess. So is there any other last word that you have for all of us, Sridhar?
Yes, I mean, everyone, like, do pay attention to your mind. It is one of the biggest, like, impact creating organ, like impacting creating mechanism which controls the quality of your life. And we all go through ups and downs in life, but if you have a strong mind, then you will be able to, like make it out, and you will emerge also stronger. And it is even more important, especially when you want to fix sleep. So our title is fix your life to fix your sleep. The reverse is also equally true. When you fix your sleep, you will be able to fix your life. So those are my like parting words.
Yeah. So thank you so much for being on this talk show. So hope to cover much more topics in the days to come.
Yeah.
And really very happy to have you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Suchita. Wonderful, chatting with you. Thanks for having me over. And thanks for everyone who joined in today and are listening to us. Yeah, everyone, have a good evening. Bye bye.
Hey, thank you. Thank you.